Mangwana ni Mandelepo Vukenjani Krekwas Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show, bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You're joined by Ashumberi and Glenora Shipura. So we were just talking because Glenn and I are both Arsenal fans, but everyone's got their local team.
Yes.
So what's your local team?
You know I'm Herrero, so you already know African Stars.
I didn't know there was an equivalency there.
It's nothing to do with tribe.
But it's a...
But of course,
no,
yes, and we won over the weekend. We played against a Shoke.
The Shoke. Oh, was it Chula this weekend?
Chula, yes. And then
it was this weekend?
It was this weekend.
They didn't make as big of a deal as they usually do.
I know, it's because we beat them. I'm kidding.
Fair enough. For those who are curious, in Harare, I support Dynamos, Dimbare. You should Google them.
Wow.
It's that's my club. That's my.
Hey, you know, it's Ashwan. You need to take me to Harare. You need to take me to
I'm not leaving
Glenora. You know, I don't know if the viewers know this, but my name comes from
in Harare.
Yes.
No, we'll go. We have a wedding.
You need to take me. Yes.
No problem.
Now, getting to what you can expect in today's broadcast. Congo reinstates the death penalty after more than 20 years. Indian Navy captures ship from Somali pirates, rescuing 17 crew members. Afghanistan government welcomes UN mission extension. Stay tuned for this and more on Africa Good Morning.
Getting into our top stories, Congo has lifted more than two-decade-old moratorium on the death penalty as authorities say they struggle to curb violence and militant attacks in the country, and this is according to a Justice Ministry statement. The statement dated earlier last week said the ban from 2003 allowed offenders accused of treason and espionage to get away without proper punishment. Eastern Congo has been riddled by conflict for decades, linked to more than 120 armed groups fighting for land and power, and in some cases protecting their communities. The government said the violence in the east has plagued the country with recurrent conflict and resulted in a surge of attacks that have spread terror among the communities. In recent years, the M23 rebel group, the most dominant in the region with alleged links to neighboring Rwanda, has continued to attack villages, forcing many to flee to Goma, the region's largest city.
In our next story, Indian naval forces, including special commandos, have seized a cargo vessel that had been hijacked by Somali pirates and rescued 17 crew members, a spokesperson for the Navy said. In a post on the social media platform X on Saturday, the Navy said that all 35 pirates on board the Maltese-flagged bulk cargo vessel MV Ruan had surrendered, and the ship had been checked for the presence of illegal arms, ammunition, and contraband. The MV Ruan was hijacked late last year, and the Navy said it first intercepted the vessel on Friday. The pirates on board the vessel have been called upon to surrender and release the vessel and any civilians they may be holding against their will, the Navy said in a statement. The Indian Navy remains committed to maritime security and safety of seafarers in the region, it added. The vessel may have been used as the base for the takeover of a Bangladesh-flagged cargo ship off the coast of Somalia earlier this week. The European Union Naval Force said the hijacking of the Ruan in December was the first successful takeover of a vessel involving Somali pirates since 2017, when a crackdown by international navies stopped a rush of seizures in the Gulf of Aden and the Indian Ocean.
Now, Taliban authorities on Saturday welcomed the renewal of the mandate of the UN mission to Afghanistan, saying the agency should help boost ties between the country and other nations. The United Nations Assistance Mission in Afghanistan has been present in Afghanistan since 2002 and had its mandate renewed until March 17, 2025 by a unanimous UN Security Council vote on Friday. Now, the extension of the mandate will, God willing, serve in the interests of Afghanistan as the nation needs to connect to countries around the world, and organizations in UNAMA can strengthen such ties, government spokesperson Zabihullah Mujahid told state media RTA. Now, the Taliban government has not been officially recognized by any country since seizing power after the chaotic withdrawal of US troops in August 2021, with concerns over women's rights and security among key sticking points. Now, Mujahid called on UNAMA to help convey progress on security and stability to the international community, condemning unfair pressures on Afghanistan and reiterating the demand that frozen Afghan assets be released.
After the army seized power in Niger last year, the president of its giant neighbor, Nigeria, was at the forefront of demands that the junta step down, even warning the West African bloc could use military force to oust the generals while imposing tough sanctions and closing the border. However, just 8 months later, Bola Tinubu has lifted all those restrictions. In many ways, it is a huge climb down for the regional bloc, ECOWAS, but it is also personally embarrassing for Mr. Tinubu, analysts say. The warm welcome for the lifting of sanctions in both Niger and across the border in northern Nigeria also shows the unpopularity of his original hardline position. The about turn was partly because Niger, along with its fellow juntas in Burkina Faso and Mali, hugely increased the stakes by saying they will pull out of ECOWAS altogether, raising serious questions about the bloc's future. The three countries had been suspended from ECOWAS, which has been urging them to return to democratic rule. It seems ECOWAS realized its waning influence after the trio went ahead to form an alliance, severe ties with France, and forge closer relations with Russia. Nigerian political commentator Sani Bala thinks Tinubu was too hasty 8 months ago in trying to prove himself and act like the strong man. He had only been in office 2 months when Niger's coup took place and had just taken over as chairman of ECOWAS.
Now, repairs on damaged subsea cables that are causing internet outages across Africa, West and Central Africa to be specific, are expected to take at least 5 weeks before completion and full service restoration, Ghana's communications regulator said on Saturday. The break in the cables has led to widespread disruption of internet and telecommunications linked businesses, including banks, mobile operations, money transfer agencies, and stock exchange markets. Now, Ghana's National Communications Authority said it held a meeting with the 4 subsea cable landing service providers: Africa Coast to Europe, Main 1, owned by data center operator Equinix, Open South Atlantic 3, and West Africa Cable System and mobile network operators. It said the service providers had located the approximate location of the damage and had made preparations to dispatch repair vessels. Those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning. After the break, we look into the SADC developmental integration agenda. Stay with us.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Now, as Ashwin highlighted before the break, the investment world is transforming capital markets due to disruptive technologies, climate change, and geopolitical tensions, global pandemics, and inflation. All these factors are triggering tighter financial conditions, making access to investment finance for small to medium enterprises and foreign direct investments problematic.
Now attracting intra-Southern African development, community investment and FDI has been placed at the core of the SADC developmental integration agenda. More details follow in this video.
The Southern African Development Community SADC is comprised of 16 member states and has over 360 million people, as well as a combined gross domestic product of $720 billion. SADC is home to iconic tourist attraction destinations, abundant natural resources, which have untapped potential for the development of regional value chains. SADC recognizes that attracting foreign direct investment, FDI, involves competing with other nations throughout the world. Hence, it has developed the SADC Regional Investment Policy Framework, which identified policy action areas that includes transparency and protection of investors' rights to help member states improve business and investment climate. The support to improving the investment and business environment program for the SADC region, which is funded by the European Union, supports the harmonization of investment and business environment-related laws and regulations and the enhancement of the SADC tax regime to facilitate a conducive investment and business environment within SADC member states. In order to support investors in accessing information, SADC has developed an investment portal which is linked to member states' investment portals. To this end, the region has created a favorable investment climate that is responsive to the needs of the investors and the private sector, whilst remaining competitive. That is why the region has an average of 80% liberalization and attractiveness, according to the World Bank. The SADC Industrialization Strategy and Roadmap and its action plan recognize that infrastructure development is a key catalyst to the industrialization agenda. Energy, rail transportation, and information technology have been identified as the primary facilitators of industrialization. The SADC region has abundant solar, wind, hydroelectric, and geothermal potential, not to mention huge reserves of coal and gas to generate electricity. However, member states cannot afford projects of a regional nature. Therefore, there is potential for investments in regional energy projects, particularly in generation and transmission. Currently, only 3 out of every 10 people have access to electricity within the SADC region. Road transport infrastructure throughout Southern Africa is more established than other infrastructural sectors. However, there is need for more investments in the infrastructure of regional railways and air transport, in particular the North-South Corridor running north from Durban, South Africa, the Maputo Corridor running through Mozambique, and the Dar es Salaam Corridor in Tanzania, as these development corridors connect shipping ports to areas of industrial productivity. More infrastructure has been supplied by the private sector through public-private partnerships and user pays principles. This system has proven effective, enabling road and railway development to commence where government intervention had previously stagnated. Development of information and communication technology ICT infrastructure is required within the region, particularly in broadband connections with open access fibers and high-speed internet access, potentially through terrestrial, wireless or satellite technology in remote areas. Voice over IP services are universally available throughout the region. The SADC Industrialization Strategy and Roadmap and its action plan identifies 6 priority value chain clusters, which are agro-processing, mineral beneficiation, pharmaceuticals, leather, textile and clothing, tourism, and services. SADC will implement enhanced policy, regulatory, and the business environment on national and regional levels for development and sustainable operation of these regional value chains. This will help SADC member states to attract efficiency-seeking FDI that enable them to move up from the regional to the global value chain and integrate into the global economy. SADC, towards a common future.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Let's get into the economic news stories on Africa. Good morning. South Africa's parliament says it needs more money to meet obligations, including the implementation of the State Capture Commission's recommendations. This was heard by the Joint Standing Committee on Financial Management on Friday. Parliament said it is in discussions with Minister of Finance Enoch Godongwana about its budget allocation. Secretary to Parliament Olile George said Parliament is in a precarious position as it has become dependent on its internal savings. He added that these savings have declined drastically over the last few years. Parliament's CFO Jason O'Hara said its request to Treasury for more funds has not been responded to, nor has an allocation been made. This is despite the Department of Finance saying it would be considered ahead of the midterm budget speech in October 2023. Now, O'Hara said the request for additional funds were made after Parliament raised concerns about the implementation of the State Capture Commission's recommendations.
And some interesting news, Hollywood actor Idris Elba has a big dream for Sierra Leone, the West African nation where his father was born, to regenerate a beautiful island off its coast and turn it into an eco-friendly smart city. Originally, we went there thinking, how could we bring tourism to the most incredible 19 miles of beachfront? The British star told the BBC about Sherbro Island, but as the idea was explored, a more innovative plan came into play to bring in partners and seriously develop the area in a sustainable eco way. The project now also intends to bring wind-powered renewable electricity for the first time to Sierra Leone. It's a dream, you know, but I work in the make-believe business, he said. He's best known for his roles in Luther, The Wire, and for playing Nelson Mandela. The 51-year-old actor wants to make people believe this can happen and change perspectives. Elba was brought into the project by his childhood friend Siaka Stevens, the grandson of a former Sierra Leonean president of the same name. For the last decade, Stevens has been spending more time in Sierra Leone and initially wanted to establish a boutique hotel there.
Very interesting, and kudos to him, except for that Nelson Mandela that didn't go well. All right, stay with Africa Good Morning as we head to the indicators just before the sport.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
All right, so championship side Coventry will face Manchester United in the FA Cup semi-finals, while championship holders Manchester City will play Chelsea. Now, Coventry City beat Wolves in their quarter-final thanks to Haji Wright's 100th-minute winner. Manchester United turned things around in extra time to beat rivals Liverpool at Old Trafford. Meanwhile, Manchester City cruised past Newcastle in the last 8, and Chelsea beat championship leaders Leicester. Now, both semi-finals will take place at Wembley Stadium on the weekend of 20 to 21 April.
Ireland retained the Six Nations title as they overcame a heroic defensive effort by Scotland in Dublin. On a nervy evening, Dan Sheehan's try, either side of two Finn Russell's penalties, gave Ireland a 1-point lead at the end of a cagey first half. Scotland defended bravely after the break as Taj Folong and Robbie Henshaw both had Irish tries ruled out. Entry Porter crossed to provide Ireland with clear daylight before Hugh Jones gave Scotland late hope. Ireland, however, steadied themselves in the closing moments to defend their crown in a remarkably tense conclusion to their campaign.
Now, the WTA 1000 tournament in Indian Wells concluded with a final match between Maria Sakkari from Greece and the world number 1 Iga Swiatek from Poland. Now, this marked their 6th encounter on the court, and now the score is level at 3-3. Interestingly, the last time they met was also in the final of Indian Wells in 2022.
Swinging over to some local football news, African Stars consolidated their Debmarine NPFL title credentials by ensuring they finished the weekend on top of the log, irrespective of the Sunday results. Only a handful of matches remain, and African Stars look as if they will be retaining their Namibia Premiership title. African Stars will, however, not be eager to celebrate prematurely, knowing Commerce, Nampol and Uncas FC still remain on their sides going into the final stretch.
Yeah, very happy about that one.
We are very happy. So, but like they said, you know, we're not going to celebrate too early.
Yeah, you give it 2 weeks. Those have been our sports stories. Highlights shortly. Let's quickly get into our highlights. Congo reinstates the death penalty after more than 20 years. Indian Navy captures ship from Somali's pirates, rescuing 17 crew members. And Afghanistan government welcomes UN mission extension.
And with that, we've come to the end of the broadcast. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Monday morning. From me, Glenn Rashipura.
And Ashwin Berry, Sunil Jakanaka.